Alright, you have to imagine that this is going to be glued to the back of the headboard. And I've got to cut a matching 10-degree angle on this piece so that it'll slip into this pocket that I'm going to create. Now the thing that I need to keep in mind is that from the bottom, I want this to measure at least 26 inches. Because I don't want that, I'm going to round these edges over. I don't want this 10-degree edge to be below the mattress line, I guess. So let's say the mattress line is here and the headboard comes down to about, let's say about here. So the mattress line is here, headboard line is there. I don't want this to be a sharp 10-degree angle and have to deal with that. So I'm going to have it stop up here. I'll round over these edges so that'll be a nice feel if your hand happens to rub against it in the middle of the night. So I'm going to make two 10-degree cuts and I'm going to stop at this point here. I'll probably stop before that though. I'll have to finish this off with a hand plane or a chisel, and then you know, just a handsaw to cut that square right there. So I got my saw set up with the 10-degree angle. I'm not going to change that. That way I'll get a good fit here. Alright, I finished the cut on the one side here and I put my square edge on it. My stop edge, I guess I'll call it. I overcut this a little bit here. That's my fault. I learned a lesson there. I was thinking it was going to be just a straight flat cut, but it's not. It's a tapered cut this way. But anyway, that won't happen on the next ones. So I'm going to use this to my advantage. I'll show you how I'm going to have to bring the saw up through the table to make this cut on the other side. All right, I've got my straight 10-degree board. You know, it's got the straight edge on this side, butted up against the stop here. And my feather board is holding it tight to the fence. I'm going to push down on it while I start the blade and then bring it up. I've got my cut line right here, so I'll keep an eye on that blade to make sure I get it high enough to cut all the way through, but not go past that. So let's see what happens here. Worked out pretty well. I'm very happy with the way that worked out. Okay, I'll do it one more time here. Okay, I'll make the same stop cut. Then just make sure that I'm square across here. And we can see how they're going to look on the back of the headboard. It worked out really good. Really well, I should say. Okay, here's the big picture. You can see I've got this board clamped to my extrusion as a stop. This is up tight against it. Then I've got my two spacers, and I've got that Festool clamp up there on top, pushing my headboard in this direction. Just a little pressure, just enough. So I've got to get it centered, which I can do right now. And then I can figure out how I'm going to, well, I am just going to glue these in place. I got my block cut off here. So what I'm doing is I've got everything back in place. Got these pushed up tight against that stop. Put that in. And now I know where to cut these off. Alright, that's going to work out well. I'm nearly flush, I'll put it that way. This is sticking up just a little bit. That one over there is flush. So I'm going to glue down this side and the inside over there. Alright, I got the other side glued up on both of them. You can see what I use for a combination of weights there. So it's time now to pull these uprights and make sure that I don't have any glue. I checked the first ones I did, and I didn't have any problem with it sticking. That can stay. I've got to get this out of the way. Hang on a second here. I had to remove this. Get the other one. That one was a little snug. I don't know if there's glue or what was going on there. I'm glad I pulled that one. I think there might have been a little glue sneaking out of this. Alright. Shouldn't be a problem now. Alright, good news and bad news. And good news and bad news, I guess. A couple things. The good news is it works really well. I mean, this setup for attaching it is fantastic, I think. Just slides in. So no metal fasteners, you know, to worry about poking through the front or anything like that. The one bad news is that this is too high. So I'm going to drop it 1 inch, which is no big deal. It's a lot easier to remove the wood than it is to add it back on. So that won't be a problem. The other good news is that the side-to-side motion this way is nothing. I mean, it's just rock solid. But this way, that's no good. I don't like that. And I know that that's a problem when you build a headboard and attach it to a metal frame like this, that you're going to get that. So the thought I had is to put some bumpers on the back here, and then when you push it up against the wall, it'll slightly push it forward, you know, toward the bed, just a little bit to take that away and use the wall as basically a brace. All right, I got these standards shortened and sanded and tapered. Let's see how it goes together now. It looks good. Very good. All right. I think the wife will be happy with that. And that taper on the top really helps to, you know, really makes it easy to get the thing started to come down. So I'm happy about that as well. All right. Essentially, it is done. It's just ready for some finish. I did some investigating. I've decided I'm just going to put bumpers on the back here. There's really no way for me to make it solid going that way. This is still good and solid in that direction. So I'll get some bumpers installed in the back. That way when we push it up against the wall, that'll keep it from wobbling around. Thanks for watching.